Welcome, everyone, to today's webcast entitled The 9 Aspects of a Well-Balanced Reporting System. My name is Marilyn Marchant, and this webcast is brought to you by Polaris Strategic Solutions. The Polaris team put this material together because frequently, during our years of experience with healthcare reporting, we've seen organizations struggle to provide a solid reporting system for their users. They buy a reporting tool, but it doesn't seem to solve the problem. Why? Because they haven't put the fundamental elements in place. And without a good foundation, it's really hard to build a solid, sustainable system. We hear a lot these days about the growing importance of data reporting in healthcare. And we see a lot of coverage on the need for better analytics, business intelligence, and even big data. But we don't hear enough about the real fundamentals, the enablers, those aspects that help to ensure the success, because the technology alone is insufficient. So we created this presentation to share our experience and address a key need in the industry. We believe that there are 9 enablers. Here they are. There is no priority order to them. They are equally important and must be balanced across the board. So let's examine each one. First, there's line of sight. Have you ever received conflicting messages about the direction and priorities of your organization? Is there confusion over who has responsibility or who is making a certain decision? I've encountered all of these over my career, and it really takes the focus off the goals of the organization and puts it on to non-productive kinds of activities. It is definitely not helping to achieve the strategic goals of the organization. It really works in a derivative way. Aligning employees with an organization's larger strategic goals is critical if the organization hopes to manage their capital, human capital that is, effectively and ultimately attain strategic success. An important component of attaining and sustaining this alignment is for employees to have a line of sight with their organization's strategic objectives. Now, we all know airline pilots are required to file a flight plan before they take off. And in this plan, they identify their departure and arrival points, their estimated flight time, the number of people on board, and alternate airports in case of an emergency. It's the best way to ensure they reach their destination safely. Shouldn't we all insist on the same rigor in our own organizations? Yes, I believe it's absolutely key. So I suggest starting by taking the organization's line of sight and making it the basis for prioritizing all your work. It will form the basis for both your success as well as your organization's success. Make the line of sight the framework for your planning and also decision making. And also use it to frame communications back to both employees and shareholders. That way everybody understands the importance and can align around it. With the volume of requests I imagine you're getting, I advocate using a ranking system. Here's a couple that I found useful. The one on the top is a chart. The way this works is you plot the effort to fulfill the request along the x-axis. So is it hard? Is it a lot of work, or is it easy to do? And on the y-axis goes the impact that request or that project will have towards the line of sight goals. So in this example, you can see in the upper right where the effort is low but the impact is high. That's the sweet spot, and probably those projects in that shaded area are the ones that should be done first, so they should probably get the priority. Another way to do it is the one below it, where we're plotting requests versus initiatives. So down the left-hand side of the page is the request column, and any request that comes in, you see in this example we have 3, the physician referral patterns, the core measure dashboard, and registration process evaluation is it's been requested, and then the initiatives for the organization are the columns going across to the right. So improving care, reducing cost, improving patient satisfactions are the ones I've picked for this example. And for each of the cells to say, well, what does the physician referral practice patterns do to improve care? Well, maybe not a lot, so we give that a 1 in weighting, but a registration process might very well help improve patient satisfaction at a level 4. So you add it all up, total it up, and we can see in this example that the registration process is one that probably deserves a high priority, followed by the core measure dashboard. So by using this weighting system, you can determine which projects make the best distribution. Now next is the enterprise-wide reporting strategy. We've all heard the idiom that you can't see the forest for the trees. And it's especially true in the world of hospital reporting. There's too much attention given to the silos of the organization. There are also too many departmental spreadsheets that don't synchronize with each other, which is a huge productivity drain. Worst of all, it obscures the big picture and messes up that alignment towards the strategic goals again. Utilizing an enterprise-wide reporting strategy will help pull it all together. You'll find that the consistency of style and content promotes ease of use. Also, consistent placement of information on a page or a dashboard saves time for both the report creator as well as the reader. That makes training and development costs lower. And finally, it can help the team achieve and maintain a more professional presentation if you use a style guide, for example. Now, I probably don't have to tell you that data quality is very important. In fact, it is the basis for trust within information. Data transparency and quality are essential for problem solving. But when one report doesn't reconcile with a related one, then people don't believe the data is accurate. And if it's not perceived as accurate, then people don't trust it, and they eventually don't use it. Then problem solving can't be fact-based. So when that happens, who only knows how much time gets wasted arguing or bickering or trying to reconcile and not focused on the more productive work. And how can informed decisions be made if we're not using data and we're not believing in the data? So data quality is vitally important, yet for most organizations it is daunting. This is one of the, I saw a survey recently where this is one of the top reasons that people haven't adopted data reporting and business analytics, because the data quality is so hard to do. And it's not a once and done kind of thing. It's a never-ending request. That's why it's so important to formally assign data stewards to make sure that the data is constantly in good shape. A data steward is an individual who is ultimately responsible for the definition, management, control, integrity, and maintenance of a data resource. They are vital to ensuring that the information has integrity, because these systems are complicated and they're forever changing, and it needs constant attention or ongoing attention. But you need to choose those folks very carefully, because they must have two traits. They must have knowledge about the organization as well as the ability to influence people. At Polaris, we believe in this so strongly that we have built in areas within some of our reports where it makes sense to document and then present to end users the data governance information provided by the data stewards. So let me give you an example. We have one customer that has a quality dashboard, and it has core measures, it has meaningful use measures, it has patient satisfaction data in it, and for each measure there's a little button to push and it will expand a screen that explains about that measure. Where the data, what are the sources for the data, how is it calculated, who's in charge of making sure that it's up to date, and if you have any questions, who do you talk to? Those are the data stewards. And the end users can see that, and the data stewards, assuming they get the permission from the organization to do so, can actually update that information. So it is so helpful for everyone, and it keeps the system working well. This brings us to automation, report automation. How often do we miss information because, well, it just takes too much time or it's too hard to find it? Or printed reports get delayed or maybe lost in the mail. Shouldn't you have the reports you need with the latest information right at your fingertips? Well, of course, the answer is a resounding yes, and automation is the answer. We have customers who have incorporated automation so successfully that they claim it has become a key time saver for them. One example is the CFO at Berkshire Health Systems. She checks her reports every morning as soon as she arrives in the office, and she gets a snapshot of the metrics that are important to her. If she sees a problem, she can drill right down to see if what's the source, and if there's something there that needs further attention, either her attention or maybe attention from someone else that she can assign to the problem. It works because the data has been refreshed automatically overnight, and it's just waiting to be reviewed when she comes in. So automating it and having near real-time or near real-time data is really key here. Next, it is important to have a good ad hoc tool, as well as the policies to support it. Now, you have to chuckle at Otto's dilemma in this comic strip. Like all good cartoons, it resonates with truth. All too often, end users see their IT guys as taking too long to produce reports. Perhaps not all requests, especially those that are simple, those one-of-a-kind reports or quick queries, they don't all need to be done by the IT department. That's where an ad hoc tool prevails. Of course, you'll also need to have good definition of the data as well as some guidelines so that people can be self-sufficient with this. And the good news is that if fewer requests hit your desk, then your backlog becomes much more manageable. Of course, we're in sad shape if our stakeholders are not using our reports. That's why engaging stakeholders is critical and on our key aspect list. Most people ignore meaningless numbers. So to make sure your audience is engaged, you must make sure that the information is relevant to them. And this almost needs to be done certainly at a role level or maybe even at an individual level. As a result, reporting can get pretty complicated very quickly. Here's an example. Let's say there was an IT department that decided to create a dashboard so that hospital administration and the quality folks could monitor trends in their patient satisfaction scores. Now, they can compare their performance. They look at their performance in 9 key dimensions. That's what the patient satisfaction requirements are, 9 key dimensions. And they have target scores, so they build a dashboard. But those 9 dimensions are really a roll-up of 32 individual questions that are presented to patients. Of course, rolling it up to the 9 dimensions makes sense for the administrators because they want to see the big picture. Meanwhile, the nursing department wants to ensure that they are excelling at the one dimension of one of the 9 that pertains directly to nursing performance, the communication with nurses. Now, the hard part is that that's a compilation of 3 separate questions from the patient survey. So seeing that this information at the dimension level doesn't really help them get to the point. So they can't see which question and how well they're doing with any of the 3 questions. So they're particularly interested, let's say, in the 3rd question, which did nurses explain things in a way that you can understand? They can't see that information from the rolled up report. So they need to understand that information, but they need to see the breakdown. And that's where that gets complicated because different people need to see different levels of detail. They may only need, those nurses may only be, should only be allowed perhaps to see their nurse station and not the others and so forth. So there's sections of the organization. So we have the 5 rights of meaningful reporting here that will help, if you walk through those, kind of help you say, for each stakeholder or certainly stakeholder role, you know, do I have the right data, the right level of detail, the right timing, and so forth. Also, as you're working through this, keep the line of sight in mind because that'll be helpful to explaining to everyone else. And of course, be sure to listen to their requirements as well as their feedback. Data visualization will also help keep stakeholders engaged. Now, there's both an art and a science to presenting data. The combination really needs to create a picture of the information that leads to quick understanding of the story that's being told by the data. The important message needs to stand out, not get lost in the fray there. Now, this is a unique skill to be able to pull out that key message and make sure that it's really easy to see. So this skill, this clarity of design, is key here. It also happens to be a big strength of Polaris. But you can see an example here where you've got 2 different, same data presented in 2 different ways. And on the left, you know, everything's bold, everything stands out, kind of competes for attention. So it's very hard to look at and very hard to understand what's important. But if you look at the chart on the right, the background fades into the background as it should, the less clutter on the slide, and the 4 values that we're comparing stand out more clearly. Finally, we get to the staff. We're all being asked to do more with less, so a high-performing team is essential. Yet recent surveys on employee satisfaction reports that most employees do not feel appreciated. And it's not really a matter of money entirely. Surveys have also shown that a culture where employees feel empowered in their decision-making and feel respected and feel noticed, actually those organizations with that kind of culture get results in better employee engagement than those organizations that work on employee engagement through salary alone. So as a leader, it is within your power to empower your employees and boost their satisfaction as well as their performance. Use the top 5 employee satisfaction boosters here and see what kind of a difference you can make. Well, there you have it. The 9 aspects to a well-balanced reporting system helps to keep things healthy. Compare each one of these items to your situation and see how you stack up. And maybe some of the ideas here will help you in the areas that you feel you might need some performance improvement. Should you decide, however, that you need some help, in one or more of these areas, please consider Polaris Strategic Solutions. We offer a comprehensive service that provides hospitals with custom reports of all kinds, on demand, according to your priority and specs. We work specifically for you. It's not canned and it's not pre-described. We're there for you. We work across all data sources, and that's not just your HIS, main HIS system, but your HIS, your ambulatory, your whatever departmental systems, or even data that needs to be hand keyed in off of surveys or whatever. We work with it all and put it together in reports that work for your organization. We are lightning quick in our turnaround, so we're very fast about it because we know that when you need something, you need it. And we do that so you can make timely decisions, manage your operations, and monitor your progress. We make it very easy for you to become an extension of your staff. We have years of experience, which we are happy to share. So get the benefit of this expertise. Let us help you get to the meaning of your data quickly and effectively. Thank you.